Critical analysis of Hawa Hunt's release, political influence, rule of law, and the state of Sierra Leone's legal system. Welcome to the Bold African Voice, BAV, where we tackle Africa's most pressing issues with in-depth analysis and forward-looking perspectives. I'm Abdul Karim Kargbo, born and raised in Africa. In today's video, we explore the controversy surrounding the release of Hawa Hunt in Sierra Leone and the larger implications it holds for the country's rule of law. Stay with us as we critically assess the role of political influence and the need for judicial independence in Africa's legal systems. On March 4, 2025, popular reality TV star Hawa Hunt was released from detention after spending nearly 2 months in custody on charges related to cybercrime. Hunt's arrest, which took place in December 2024, stemmed from a viral video in which she allegedly insulted Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio and First Lady Fatima Bio. However, her release, following a public appeal from First Lady Fatima Bio, has ignited a heated debate about the application of the rule of law in Sierra Leone, the political influence over legal proceedings, and the implications for the country's democratic and legal framework. Political influence in legal proceedings. The circumstances surrounding Hunt's release have raised serious questions about the role of political figures in the country's legal system. Hunt's detention and eventual release underscore concerns that political influence, rather than an objective application of the law, is steering legal outcomes in Sierra Leone. The Sierra Leone Lawyers Society, SLLS, was quick to criticize what they saw as the prioritization of the word of politicians over the rule of law. According to the SLLS, this case highlights the troubling trend of political figures exerting control over legal matters, thereby undermining the independence of the judiciary. The SLLS made their concerns clear in a statement on their official social media page, noting that, while we celebrate the discharge and release of Hawa Hunt from detention, sadly we have observed that the word of politicians seems to carry more weight than the rule of law. This statement captures the growing disillusionment within Sierra Leone's legal community, where many believe that justice is being increasingly dictated by the whims of those in power. The rule of law versus political expediency. The fundamental issue highlighted by this case is the apparent erosion of the rule of law in Sierra Leone. The SLLS argues that civil remedies would have been a more appropriate response to any perceived defamation caused by Hunt's remarks. According to the organization, the arrest and detention of Hawa Hunt for nearly 2 months were unnecessary and disproportionate. Rather than resorting to harsh criminal procedures, the SLLS suggests that the application of the rule of law, including civil defamation suits, would have sufficed to address the matter without infringing on Hunt's constitutional rights. The fact that Hunt's release came only after public intervention from the First Lady also suggests that legal processes may be influenced by political maneuvering. This has led many to question the integrity of legal proceedings in Sierra Leone, particularly when high-profile figures are involved. It raises the broader issue of whether justice is truly impartial or whether it is swayed by political considerations. Comparisons across Africa. The politics of law and order. Hawa Hunt's case is not unique in Africa. Across the continent, there have been numerous instances where political figures have interfered in legal processes, leading to concerns about the independence of the judiciary and the integrity of the legal system. From Uganda to Zimbabwe, and even South Africa, politicians have been accused of using the legal system to suppress dissent and silence critics. In Uganda, for example, President Yoweri Museveni's government has long been accused of using the judiciary as a tool to stifle opposition, with several high-profile cases of political interference. Similarly, in Zimbabwe, President Emerson Mnangagwa's administration has faced widespread criticism for using the courts to target political opponents and suppress free speech. Even in South Africa, the judiciary, though generally seen as independent, has been criticized for allowing political pressures to influence key legal decisions. These instances serve as a reminder that the challenges facing Sierra Leone are not isolated but are part of a broader regional pattern. In many African countries, political leaders use the legal system to maintain their hold on power, curtailing the space for free expression and undermining democratic principles. Sierra Leone, like many other African nations, must grapple with the tension between legal independence and political power. The implications for Sierra Leone's democratic future. The implications of Hunt's case go beyond just legal theory. They are deeply tied to the democratic health of Sierra Leone. If political influence continues to shape legal outcomes, the country's nascent democracy could suffer long-term harm. The rule of law is a cornerstone of any functioning democracy, and the failure to uphold it can lead to an erosion of trust in government institutions and the judiciary. Sierra Leone, which has made significant strides in recent decades in terms of political stability and democratic governance, risks undoing much of this progress if it allows political interference to shape its legal system. International observers and human rights organizations will closely monitor the country's handling of this case and any future developments, as they will have broader implications for the country's commitment to democratic principles and the protection of human rights. Moreover, the role of the First Lady in Hunt's release may raise questions about the separation of powers in the Sierra Leonean government. While it is not uncommon for political figures to advocate for individuals they believe have been wronged, the degree to which the First Lady's intervention influenced legal proceedings could potentially set a concerning precedent. It could pave the way for more political leaders to directly intervene in legal matters, thereby further undermining the rule of law. Looking ahead, a call for legal reforms. Looking forward, Sierra Leone faces a critical juncture. The case of Hawa Hunt calls for a broader discussion about the reform of the country's legal and judicial systems. Reforms are needed to ensure that legal decisions are based solely on the law, not on political whims. This would involve strengthening the independence of the judiciary and ensuring that legal processes are transparent, impartial, and free from political interference. Furthermore, there needs to be a renewed commitment to protecting the rights of citizens to express their opinions freely without fear of retribution. While defamation laws exist to protect individuals from harm, the legal system must also strike a balance between protecting people's reputations and safeguarding the right to free speech. Civil remedies, rather than criminal charges, should be prioritized in cases of defamation. In addition, there should be greater public awareness and legal literacy so citizens understand their rights and how to navigate the legal system. The active engagement of civil society organizations like the Sierra Leone Lawyers Society is crucial in advocating for legal reforms and holding government officials accountable when they overstep their boundaries. While the release of Hawa Hunt may signal a positive outcome for her personally, it serves as a stark reminder of the challenges facing Sierra Leone's legal system. How the government and judiciary address the concerns raised by this case will be a key test of the country's commitment to democratic governance, the rule of law, and the protection of individual freedoms. The role of civil society in strengthening legal independence. In the wake of events like Hunt's arrest and subsequent release, the role of civil society in Sierra Leone becomes even more crucial. Civil society organizations, including the Sierra Leone Lawyers Society, SLLS, have been vocal in advocating for the rule of law and legal reforms. The SLLS's statement condemning the political influence over Hunt's case highlights the critical role that independent legal bodies can play in holding both the government and the judiciary accountable. Such organizations provide a counterbalance to the influence of political power, ensuring that the principles of justice are not compromised. It is essential that these groups are empowered and supported to continue their work, as they serve as a critical check on the power of the state. They also play a vital role in educating the public about their legal rights and in fostering a legal culture where accountability is prioritized over political convenience. In Sierra Leone and across Africa, the vibrancy of civil society has often been the bulwark against authoritarian tendencies. Continued advocacy for the protection of free speech and the proper application of the rule of law is essential for sustaining democratic institutions. Without strong civil society participation, political interference in the legal system could go unchecked, ultimately leading to the erosion of democracy itself. International reactions and Sierra Leone's global standing. The international community is watching closely as Sierra Leone navigates this issue. The release of Hawa Hunt, after the intervention of the First Lady, raises concerns regarding the country's commitment to upholding democratic norms and the rule of law. Human rights organizations, including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, are likely to scrutinize this case as it fits into broader regional trends of political interference in legal processes. In addition to domestic scrutiny, Sierra Leone's standing on the global stage could be affected by how it handles the fallout from this case. For instance, Sierra Leone is a signatory to international conventions that protect human rights, including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR. Under such frameworks, the country is expected to ensure that its legal processes are free from political interference and that the rights of its citizens are protected. Failure to meet these expectations could lead to diplomatic repercussions, including calls for sanctions or diplomatic isolation from human rights advocacy groups and international bodies. Moreover, Sierra Leone's reputation as a post-conflict country with a recovering democratic system is at stake. The country has made significant strides since the end of its civil war in 2002, but recent events suggest that the political environment may be regressing. For Sierra Leone to continue its trajectory towards stronger democratic governance, it must prove to both domestic and international audiences that it is committed to transparency, justice, and the rule of law, irrespective of political pressure. The long-term consequences of political interference in the judiciary. While Hunt's case may be a singular incident, it speaks of a larger issue that could have long-term consequences for Sierra Leone's judiciary. The perception that the legal system can be swayed by political influence undermines public confidence in the ability of the courts to deliver fair and impartial justice. If citizens believe that legal outcomes are determined by political factors rather than legal principles, it could discourage people from seeking legal recourse when their rights are violated. This erosion of trust in the judiciary has significant implications for the social fabric of the country. It can contribute to a sense of disillusionment among the public and lead to the normalization of corruption, cronyism, and patronage. In such an environment, ordinary citizens may begin to feel that they must either align themselves with political power or remain silent to avoid legal repercussions. Furthermore, it could lead to a chilling effect on free speech and activism. When citizens see high-profile cases like Hunt's, in which a public figure is detained for making critical remarks, they may be deterred from expressing dissent or engaging in political discourse. In this way, the lack of legal safeguards against political influence can stifle the public's ability to hold the government accountable, thus preventing meaningful democratic progress. Legal and constitutional reforms, a path forward. Given the concerns raised by Hawa Hunt's case, Sierra Leone must undertake significant reforms to safeguard the independence of its judiciary and protect the rights of its citizens. There are several key areas where reforms are necessary. 1. Judicial independence. The judiciary must be free from political influence. This can be achieved by ensuring that judicial appointments are based on merit, and that judges are protected from political pressures throughout their tenure. Legal reforms should include clear rules for the appointment and removal of judges, with independent bodies overseeing the process. 2. Civil defamation laws. The country's laws should prioritize civil remedies over criminal charges in defamation cases. While freedom of speech must be protected, individuals who feel defamed should have the ability to seek redress through civil courts, rather than relying on criminal prosecutions, which can often be politically motivated. 3. Political accountability. There must be a commitment to ensuring that politicians are held accountable for any actions that undermine the rule of law. Political interference in legal matters should be actively discouraged, and those who attempt to manipulate legal proceedings for personal or political gain should face consequences. 4. Public education. Citizens must be informed about their legal rights and the mechanisms available to protect them. Legal literacy programs can help individuals understand the importance of the rule of law and encourage them to seek justice when their rights are violated. This will also foster a stronger culture of accountability and transparency within the legal system. 5. International monitoring. Given the international attention on Sierra Leone, it is important that the country is open to external oversight. Independent international bodies should be involved in monitoring the country's legal processes to ensure that they meet global standards for human rights and judicial fairness. By taking these steps, Sierra Leone has the potential to strengthen its democratic institutions and restore confidence in its legal system. However, this will require a collective effort from the government, the judiciary, civil society, and international partners to ensure that the rule of law is not just a principle enshrined in the Constitution, but a living reality for all citizens. The Hawa Hunt case serves as a crucial reminder that for democracy to thrive, political power must never supersede the rule of law. The role of the media in upholding the rule of law. Another crucial aspect in maintaining the integrity of Sierra Leone's legal system and political processes is the role of the media. In democracies, the media serves as both a watchdog and an amplifier of public discourse. In the case of Hawa Hunt's detention and release, media outlets have been pivotal in bringing the issue to the forefront, highlighting potential abuses and stirring public debate. However, the media's role also comes with responsibilities. The freedom of the press in Sierra Leone, though constitutionally guaranteed, is often tested when controversial issues arise, particularly those involving powerful political figures. The way the media handles cases like Hunt's, where politics, the judiciary, and public opinion intersect, can either strengthen or weaken the public's faith in the justice system. It is important for journalists and media outlets to report on such cases objectively, scrutinizing the legal and political processes involved, and ensuring that the public is informed about any potential violations of rights or rule of law breaches. Moreover, as Sierra Leone continues its post-war journey toward consolidation of democracy, the media must act as a bridge between citizens and the state. By providing accurate and balanced coverage, the media can help foster public discussions about justice, human rights, and the need for legal reforms. Media outlets can also play a key role in holding government officials accountable, ensuring that they do not use their positions to manipulate the legal system for political gain. The influence of the media is undeniable, but it also comes with the risk of sensationalizing stories or succumbing to external pressures. If political actors or government officials attempt to exert control over the media, the potential for misinformation or biased reporting increases, which could further erode trust in legal and political institutions. Therefore, media independence must also be protected, not just by legal frameworks, but through the active support of civil society, international organizations, and public demand for transparency. The African context, legal and political challenges across the continent. The issue raised by the Hawa Hunt case is part of a much broader trend in Africa, where the intersection of politics and law often becomes a battleground for control and power. From Uganda to Kenya, Zimbabwe to Nigeria, many African countries have experienced tensions between political leaders and the judicial system. In several cases, the courts have been accused of being tools for political leaders to suppress dissent and maintain power, rather than serving as impartial institutions of justice. In Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni's regime has been marked by repeated allegations of using the judiciary to target opposition leaders and activists. The case of opposition leader Bobi Wine's arrest and the subsequent charges against him exemplify how the legal system can be manipulated to serve political ends. Similarly, in Kenya, the independence of the judiciary has been tested by political elites who frequently attempt to influence court decisions. The controversial cases surrounding the 2017 presidential election and the subsequent court ruling challenging the results revealed the challenges that Kenyan judges face when political pressures are applied. Zimbabwe's recent history provides another stark example. Under the leadership of Robert Mugabe and later his successor Emerson Mnangagwa, the judiciary was repeatedly accused of serving the political elite. The country's courts, particularly during Mugabe's reign, were often criticized for their failure to uphold the rule of law when it came to opposition leaders, journalists, and activists. Even now, under Mnangagwa, the legal system continues to be seen by many as compromised. Sierra Leone is not immune to these patterns, and the situation surrounding Hunt's arrest and release reveals that the line between politics and law is often blurred. This issue is not unique to Sierra Leone, but resonates across Africa, where legal systems are frequently challenged by political forces that seek to control and manipulate the judiciary for their own ends. Addressing the challenges. A regional approach to strengthening legal systems. As African countries, including Sierra Leone, continue to face challenges in maintaining a fair and independent judiciary, it is essential to explore regional solutions to these problems. Collaborative efforts among African nations, regional institutions, and international partners could provide the framework needed to strengthen the rule of law and judicial independence across the continent. One such example is the African Union, AU, which has long recognized the importance of promoting good governance, democracy, and human rights across its member states. The African Court on Human and People's Rights, established by the AU, provides an avenue for individuals and organizations to seek justice for human rights violations, although its jurisdiction and effectiveness have been limited by non-compliance from member states. In addition to AU initiatives, other regional bodies, such as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, have worked to promote democracy and human rights in West Africa. Through its ECOWAS Court of Justice, the regional bloc has provided an avenue for citizens to seek redress for human rights violations, and its decisions are binding on member states. However, the success of these regional mechanisms depends on the political will of member states to adhere to court rulings and implement reforms. Regional cooperation can also serve to strengthen the capacity of national legal systems. By sharing best practices, resources, and expertise, countries in Africa can better equip their legal institutions to resist political interference. Furthermore, a collective commitment to upholding democratic principles and human rights at the regional level could help to create a unified front against the erosion of judicial independence. The road ahead, building a stronger, fairer legal system in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone's legal system is at a crossroads. The country faces a unique challenge in balancing political power with the need for judicial independence. While the release of Hawa Hunt is seen by some as a victory for her personally, the broader implications of the case for the country's legal system cannot be ignored. The question remains whether the Sierra Leonean judiciary can assert its independence from political forces and deliver justice impartially. Moving forward, it is crucial for Sierra Leone to prioritize legal reforms that ensure the protection of individual rights and the separation of powers between the branches of government. Strengthening judicial independence, improving the transparency of the legal process, and holding political figures accountable for their actions will be key to restoring public trust in the justice system. In addition, fostering a culture of accountability, where legal professionals and public officials are held to high ethical standards, will be critical in ensuring that the rule of law prevails. This requires active engagement from civil society, the media, the international community, and the government itself. The goal should be to create a legal system that truly serves the people, free from political interference, and that can safeguard democratic governance for future generations. As Sierra Leone grapples with the lessons from the Hunt case, it has the opportunity to set a powerful example for other African nations facing similar challenges. By choosing to defend the rule of law, the country can show that its commitment to justice and democracy is unwavering, even in the face of political pressure. The importance of international support and oversight. As Sierra Leone works to address the concerns raised by the Hawa Hunt case, the role of international organizations in supporting legal reforms cannot be overstated. Given the global attention the case has garnered, Sierra Leone's ability to adhere to international human rights standards will be scrutinized by both international bodies and foreign governments. A failure to uphold these standards could risk the country's reputation and standing in the global community. International organizations such as the United Nations, UN, the International Criminal Court, ICC, and human rights advocacy groups like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch play a critical role in holding governments accountable when legal systems fail to function impartially. These bodies provide a platform for advocacy and can apply diplomatic pressure to encourage reforms in Sierra Leone's legal and judicial systems. Their role in monitoring the political and legal landscape, ensuring transparency, and promoting the protection of human rights is integral to maintaining the rule of law, not just in Sierra Leone, but throughout the African continent. Additionally, partnerships with foreign governments, particularly those that prioritize good governance and the protection of human rights, can be instrumental in fostering long-term reform. The United Kingdom, the United States, and the European Union, for instance, have historically played a role in advocating for democratic reforms in post-conflict African nations, including Sierra Leone. This support can come in the form of development aid, technical assistance, and political pressure, all of which can be used to promote legal and institutional reforms. By aligning its legal and political practices with international best practices, Sierra Leone can demonstrate its commitment to democratic principles and the rule of law. However, while international support is crucial, it is important to recognize that the primary responsibility for reform lies with the Sierra Leonean government. Sierra Leone must take ownership of its legal system and actively work towards creating a more transparent and independent judiciary. External actors can support, but the drive for change must come from within the country itself. Addressing the broader issues of governance. Hawa Hunt's case sheds light on a broader issue of governance in Sierra Leone: the need for greater political and institutional transparency. The role of politicians in influencing legal processes, as evidenced by the First Lady's public intervention in Hunt's case, underscores the need for clearer boundaries between politics and the judiciary. This separation of powers is a fundamental principle of democracy, and it is essential for ensuring that the rule of law is applied equally to all individuals, regardless of their political affiliations. For Sierra Leone to continue its progress towards a robust democratic system, it must prioritize addressing the underlying issues of governance that allow such political interference to thrive. One critical area of focus should be strengthening the checks and balances within the political system, particularly the relationship between the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. Strengthening the independence of the judiciary will ensure that the legal system remains free from political manipulation, creating an environment where justice can be served fairly and impartially. Furthermore, transparency in governance is crucial for building public trust in political institutions. The people of Sierra Leone must feel that their government is working for them, not for the benefit of a select few. As part of a broader anti-corruption agenda, political leaders should be held accountable for any actions that undermine public trust, whether it be through judicial interference, corruption, or abuse of power. Corruption, which often leads to political influence over the judiciary, remains a significant challenge in many African nations. In Sierra Leone, the government must take decisive steps to tackle corruption at all levels, including within the legal system, to foster a culture of integrity and accountability. Enhancing civic engagement and legal literacy. Another important aspect of this issue is the need for greater civic engagement and legal literacy among Sierra Leone's population. In many African nations, including Sierra Leone, there is often a gap between the legal system and the general public's understanding of their rights and the legal processes that govern them. This gap can make it difficult for citizens to hold political leaders accountable or to effectively challenge abuses of power. One of the key ways to address this issue is through education. By improving access to legal education and increasing awareness of the rights and responsibilities of citizens, the government can empower people to take an active role in safeguarding their own rights. Legal literacy programs can help citizens understand the importance of the rule of law, how to navigate the justice system, and how to challenge legal injustices effectively. Such initiatives are crucial in ensuring that the people of Sierra Leone understand the significance of judicial independence and the role of the judiciary in a functioning democracy. A better educated population is more likely to demand transparency, accountability, and fairness from their leaders, which in turn puts pressure on politicians and public officials to uphold the law rather than manipulate it for personal or political gain. Furthermore, fostering a culture of civic engagement and participation can help to counteract the dangers of political interference in legal matters. When citizens are actively involved in the political process and understand how the legal system works, they are better positioned to advocate for their rights and ensure that justice is served impartially. Civil society organizations, including those focused on legal advocacy and human rights, play a pivotal role in mobilizing the public to engage with the political process and demand accountability. The role of the Sierra Leonean diaspora. The Sierra Leonean diaspora, especially those living in the United States, the United Kingdom, and other Western nations, can also play a vital role in advocating for legal and judicial reforms in Sierra Leone. The diaspora community often holds significant influence through their professional networks, resources, and connections to international bodies. By leveraging their global position, Sierra Leoneans abroad can exert pressure on the government to address issues related to the rule of law, corruption, and political interference in the legal system. In addition to advocacy, the diaspora can also contribute to capacity-building efforts within Sierra Leone's legal system. Many Sierra Leoneans living abroad are highly educated and possess valuable experience in areas such as law, governance, and human rights. By partnering with local institutions, diaspora groups can provide technical assistance, mentorship, and resources to help strengthen the country's legal framework. The diaspora can also play an essential role in raising global awareness about issues such as political interference in the judiciary and human rights abuses in Sierra Leone. Through media campaigns, social media activism, and partnerships with international human rights organizations, the diaspora can help amplify the voices of those calling for justice and accountability. Hawa Hunt's release has served as a flashpoint for a broader conversation about the state of Sierra Leone's legal system, political influence in legal matters, and the country's commitment to the rule of law. It has illuminated the delicate balance between political power and judicial independence, and has raised important questions about whether Sierra Leone's democracy is on firm footing or whether it risks sliding into a more authoritarian model. While the release of Hunt, facilitated by the intervention of political figures, has sparked debate, it also presents an opportunity for the country to reassess its legal system and make meaningful reforms that strengthen its democratic institutions. The way forward for Sierra Leone will require a concerted effort from the government, judiciary, civil society, and international partners to restore public trust in the legal system and ensure that the rule of law prevails over political whims. The pursuit of legal reforms, judicial independence, and increased civic engagement are all necessary steps for the country to solidify its democratic foundation and move forward into a future where justice is accessible and impartial for all. The role of youth and future generations in reform. As Sierra Leone contemplates its path forward in the aftermath of Hawa Hunt's release, one of the most important factors to consider is the involvement of the youth. Young people in Sierra Leone and across Africa are increasingly becoming vocal advocates for justice, human rights, and democracy. They are no longer passive observers, but active participants in shaping the future of their countries. The youth are an essential part of any democratic movement. They bring fresh perspectives, new ideas, and are often more willing to challenge the status quo. In Sierra Leone, many young people are becoming more politically aware and are demanding accountability from their leaders. Whether through social media activism, participating in protests, or engaging in public discourse, the youth are making their voices heard. The case of Hawa Hunt has mobilized not only legal professionals and civil society organizations, but also young people who view political interference in legal matters as a direct threat to the freedoms they cherish. Many see the independence of the judiciary and the rule of law as essential pillars for a democratic society. By joining forces with legal advocates and civil society, the youth can exert pressure on the government to implement the necessary reforms to safeguard these principles. Involving the youth in the reform process is critical. Educational programs focused on human rights, democratic governance, and legal literacy should be integrated into the national curriculum. By investing in the education of young people, Sierra Leone can foster a new generation of leaders who will understand the importance of an independent judiciary, free from political interference. Additionally, encouraging youth participation in the legal field, either through law schools or internships with human rights organizations, can help create a robust pool of advocates for reform. The youth of Sierra Leone, who have grown up in a post-war context, have witnessed firsthand the challenges of rebuilding a nation after a period of intense conflict. They are keenly aware of the importance of stability, peace, and justice. The lessons learned from the Hunt case, as well as the broader struggles for human rights and rule of law in Africa, will likely motivate the younger generation to continue the fight for a more just and equitable society. Political will and public demand for change. While the involvement of civil society, the media, international bodies, and the youth is crucial, the central driver of reform in Sierra Leone remains the political will of those in power. For legal and judicial reforms to take root, the government must demonstrate a genuine commitment to the principles of democracy and the rule of law. This requires more than just symbolic gestures. It requires structural changes within the legal system and a commitment to ensuring that justice is blind to political affiliations. In the case of Hawa Hunt, the public's reaction to her arrest and subsequent release highlights the growing frustration with political interference in the legal system. The Sierra Leonean people, by and large, understand the need for an independent judiciary and free speech. They are beginning to demand more transparency, fairness, and accountability from their leaders. The government must respond to these calls for change. The political class must acknowledge the concerns raised by the legal community, civil society, and the public, and take meaningful steps to ensure that the legal system operates independently of political influence. This may require difficult conversations about reforming the judiciary, strengthening constitutional safeguards, and reducing the concentration of power in the hands of the executive. However, the benefits of such reforms, greater stability, trust in legal processes, and a more robust democracy, will be invaluable in the long term. Moreover, political leaders must recognize that reforming the legal system is not just about protecting individuals from arbitrary detention or political persecution. It is about fostering an environment where citizens can feel confident in the fairness of the judicial process. It is about ensuring that people are not afraid to speak out against government policies, criticize public officials, or engage in political discourse without fear of retribution. Strengthening the role of international partnerships for Sierra Leone to successfully implement the legal reforms needed to ensure an independent judiciary, international support and cooperation will be indispensable. Regional and global actors, such as the African Union, the United Nations, and foreign governments, can provide both technical assistance and diplomatic pressure to promote legal and governance reforms. As previously mentioned, Sierra Leone is a signatory to various international human rights treaties, including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, and it is critical that the country remains committed to these obligations. Additionally, international organizations can assist in building the capacity of Sierra Leone's legal institutions. This could involve training judges, providing resources for legal aid, and supporting anti-corruption efforts within the judiciary. Countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, and the European Union have vast experience in promoting legal reforms in post-conflict countries. Their expertise in matters such as judicial independence, transparency, and good governance could provide Sierra Leone with the guidance and resources it needs to implement meaningful change. At the same time, international partnerships must go beyond mere technical assistance. They must include political and diplomatic efforts to encourage Sierra Leone's leaders to take concrete steps toward reform. The international community should send a clear message that any attempt to undermine the rule of law or stifle free speech will have consequences for Sierra Leone's global reputation and its relations with key partners. Learning from other African nations, Sierra Leone is not alone in its struggles with political interference in the judiciary. Other African nations have faced similar challenges, and many have adopted legal and governance reforms that Sierra Leone can learn from. One such example is Ghana, which has made significant strides in strengthening its judiciary and promoting the independence of the courts. Ghana's success has been attributed to a combination of political will, public support for judicial independence, and international partnerships that provided technical assistance. Similarly, South Africa's post-apartheid transition provides valuable lessons in building a strong, independent judiciary. The country's constitutional court has been praised for its ability to act independently of political pressure, and its rulings have helped protect the rights of citizens and uphold the rule of law. Sierra Leone could benefit from examining these models and adapting relevant aspects to its own context. It is important to note, however, that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. Every country faces unique challenges when it comes to legal reform, and Sierra Leone must consider its own historical, cultural, and political context when designing its reform agenda. Nevertheless, by drawing on the experiences of other African countries and working with international partners, Sierra Leone can craft a legal reform strategy that is tailored to its needs and aspirations. The path forward, a call for action. The case of Hawa Hunt represents a critical moment in Sierra Leone's journey towards strengthening its democracy and upholding the rule of law. While her release marks a temporary resolution to her situation, the broader implications for the country's legal system remain unresolved. If Sierra Leone is to fulfill its potential as a stable democratic nation, it must confront the political interference in its judiciary head-on. The country stands at a crossroads, and the actions taken in the coming months and years will have lasting consequences for its future. It is up to the government, civil society, the media, the youth, and the international community to work together to ensure that Sierra Leone's legal system is truly independent, transparent, and capable of delivering justice to all its citizens. Through comprehensive legal reforms, a commitment to protecting human rights, and an unwavering dedication to upholding the rule of law, Sierra Leone can pave the way for a brighter, more just future. The lessons learned from Hawa Hunt's case should not be forgotten. Rather, they should serve as a catalyst for change, driving the country toward a legal system that truly serves the people, free from political interference. Only then can Sierra Leone realize its full potential as a beacon of democracy and justice in West Africa. Building stronger legal institutions. The role of judicial reform. The case of Hawa Hunt underscores a vital need for comprehensive judicial reform in Sierra Leone. A strong, independent judiciary is the backbone of any democracy, ensuring that laws are applied impartially and consistently, regardless of political or social status. As the nation moves forward, it is essential that Sierra Leone invests in its judicial institutions, ensuring that the judiciary is capable of functioning without external political interference. One of the first steps in building a more independent and effective judiciary is to focus on the professional development of judges and court staff. In Sierra Leone, as in many other African nations, there are concerns about the capacity of the judiciary to handle complex legal cases and to operate free from political influence. Providing judges with ongoing education, specialized training, and access to legal resources will help build their capacity to make fair and impartial decisions. Furthermore, creating more transparent processes for judicial appointments and promotions would reduce the influence of political figures in selecting judges and could help ensure that the judiciary operates based on merit rather than political loyalty. Strengthening the independence of the judiciary also requires better protection for judges from political pressures. Judges must be guaranteed security of tenure and be protected from arbitrary removal or harassment by politicians. Without such protection, judges may be hesitant to make rulings that go against the interests of powerful political figures. In Sierra Leone, where political influence has historically impacted the judiciary, Robust protections are needed to create a more independent legal system. Additionally, judicial reform should focus on increasing the efficiency of the legal process. The prolonged detention of individuals, like Hawa Hunt, often stems from inefficiencies within the system, including delays in trials, lengthy legal procedures, and a backlog of cases. These inefficiencies can lead to situations where the justice system seems ineffective, leading citizens to lose faith in its ability to deliver timely and fair outcomes. Streamlining the judicial process, providing adequate resources for the courts, and ensuring that the legal system is accessible to all citizens, especially the marginalized, will be key steps toward building a stronger legal infrastructure. The importance of legal accountability. Accountability within the legal system is another critical area in need of reform. For a democracy to thrive, there must be mechanisms in place to ensure that all actors within the justice system, judges, lawyers, law enforcement, and politicians, are held accountable for their actions. This accountability not only fosters trust in the legal system, but also serves as a deterrent against corruption, abuse of power, and political interference. In Sierra Leone, there is a pressing need for an independent body or commission to oversee the activities of the judiciary and ensure that legal professionals are held to ethical standards. This could take the form of a judicial oversight body, with the power to investigate complaints against judges and other legal practitioners, as well as to take disciplinary actions when necessary. Such a body would help reassure the public that the legal system is free from corruption and that there is a mechanism for holding judges accountable for their actions. Furthermore, prosecutors and law enforcement agencies must also be held accountable for their conduct. In Hunt's case, there were serious concerns raised about the motivation behind her detention, which some believe may have been influenced by political pressure. To avoid such situations in the future, there must be clear and transparent protocols for how cases are handled by law enforcement and prosecutors, ensuring that they act based on legal principles rather than political considerations. Civil society organizations, media outlets, and international human rights groups play an important role in holding the legal system accountable. By reporting on instances of injustice, raising awareness about legal reform efforts, and advocating for the protection of human rights, these organizations help ensure that legal accountability remains a priority. The role of international aid and technical support. Sierra Leone's journey toward judicial independence and democratic consolidation will undoubtedly benefit from international aid and technical support. While the government and local civil society must drive the reform process, international actors can provide valuable expertise, funding, and diplomatic pressure to support efforts to strengthen the rule of law. International organizations such as the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Bar Association have a wealth of knowledge and resources that could assist Sierra Leone in its reform efforts. These organizations have experience working in post-conflict countries and can offer expertise on issues such as judicial reform, human rights protection, and the strengthening of democratic institutions. The provision of financial assistance, particularly to enhance the capacity of legal institutions, could help address some of the systemic challenges faced by Sierra Leone's judicial system. Additionally, foreign governments, especially those with historical ties to Sierra Leone, can offer support in the form of training programs for judges and legal professionals, as well as assistance in strengthening legal infrastructure. For example, countries like the United Kingdom, which has long-standing legal expertise in Africa, could offer specialized training in areas such as human rights law, judicial ethics, and legal professionalism. Equally important is the role of the international community in applying diplomatic pressure to encourage legal reforms in Sierra Leone. International bodies like the African Union and the European Union can use their platforms to highlight the need for judicial independence and human rights protection, offering both incentives and penalties to encourage the Sierra Leonean government to commit to legal reforms. Such diplomatic pressure can be particularly effective in countries like Sierra Leone, where external support is crucial to pushing through political and institutional change. Charting a path for Sierra Leone's future. The case of Hawa Hunt has highlighted some of the most pressing challenges facing Sierra Leone today: political interference in the judiciary, a lack of judicial independence, and the erosion of public trust in legal institutions. However, it also presents an opportunity for the country to address these issues head-on and to implement the necessary reforms to strengthen its legal system and democratic institutions. For Sierra Leone to move forward, it must prioritize judicial reform, strengthen the independence of the judiciary, and ensure that political influence does not dictate legal outcomes. This requires not only political will from the government, but also the active involvement of civil society, the media, international partners, and the youth. By working together, Sierra Leone can create a legal system that truly serves the people and upholds the principles of justice and fairness. The road ahead will not be easy, and the reforms needed will take time and effort to implement. However, the rewards will be immense: a more stable, transparent, and accountable legal system, greater trust in government institutions, and a stronger democracy that protects the rights and freedoms of all its citizens. As Sierra Leone stands at this critical juncture, the lessons from the Hunt case must be heeded. By learning from past mistakes, engaging in meaningful legal and governance reforms, and ensuring that the rule of law prevails, Sierra Leone can chart a path toward a brighter, more just future. The country's commitment to strengthening its judicial system and protecting human rights will not only benefit its citizens, but also set an example for other nations in Africa and beyond that are grappling with similar challenges. The role of accountability in safeguarding democracy. One of the fundamental principles that must be embedded in Sierra Leone's journey towards a fairer legal system is the importance of accountability, not only within the judiciary, but also throughout the political and executive branches of government. To strengthen democratic institutions, there needs to be consistent monitoring of how political decisions and legal processes are handled. The situation with Hawa Hunt's case illustrates how political figures can sometimes exert undue influence over legal proceedings, which raises serious concerns about the checks and balances that should exist within the system. The intervention of political leaders like First Lady Fatima Bio, who played a key role in Hunt's release, demonstrates the fine line between political influence and legal independence. The challenge for Sierra Leone moving forward is to ensure that such interventions are either minimized or strictly regulated, so that they do not undermine the impartiality of legal decisions. Moreover, accountability must be visible and tangible for citizens to trust their institutions. If individuals in positions of power, whether politicians, judges, or law enforcement officers, are not held accountable for actions that harm the rule of law, the fabric of democracy weakens. Strengthening institutions such as anti-corruption bodies, the police ombudsman, and judicial oversight committees is crucial in establishing mechanisms that ensure legal accountability at every level. Sierra Leone must consider establishing or reinforcing an independent commission with the power to investigate complaints against government officials and those in the legal system. This would help build public confidence that no one, regardless of their position, is above the law. By promoting transparency and accountability in all sectors, including law enforcement, the judiciary, and the political class, the government can rebuild trust and show its commitment to justice. The importance of protecting freedom of expression. For Sierra Leone's democracy to flourish, it is vital to protect freedom of expression. The legal and political challenges surrounding the case of Hawa Hunt also highlight the delicate balance between freedom of speech and the potential consequences of inflammatory remarks. While the legal system must protect individuals from defamation and harm caused by false or malicious statements, it is equally important to ensure that people have the right to freely express their opinions, particularly in political matters. Criticism of public officials, including the President and the First Lady, is an essential part of any democracy. In a vibrant democratic society, people should not fear speaking out against government leaders or policies, even if their comments are harsh or unpopular. The case of Hawa Hunt, where her remarks against political figures led to her arrest, demonstrates how the legal system can sometimes be used to stifle criticism and suppress political dissent. Sierra Leone must recognize that the protection of free speech is not only a constitutional right, but also a cornerstone of democracy. While defamation laws are important in safeguarding individuals' reputations, they should not be used as a tool to silence political opponents or social commentators. The judiciary must therefore carefully balance the need for protection from harm with the protection of fundamental rights, such as the right to speak freely without fear of retaliation. To safeguard freedom of expression, Sierra Leone must ensure that laws governing defamation and cybercrime are applied in a manner that does not infringe upon the right to free speech. Additionally, public awareness campaigns can help educate citizens about their rights to express themselves and the legal boundaries of free speech, ensuring that individuals are both informed and protected when engaging in political discourse. The role of the international community in supporting legal reforms. As Sierra Leone works to implement judicial and legal reforms, the support of the international community remains crucial. International actors, including foreign governments, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and global institutions, can offer technical support, funding, and diplomatic pressure to ensure that Sierra Leone's legal system aligns with global standards of justice and fairness. Countries with strong democratic traditions such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and those in the European Union can provide essential resources for strengthening Sierra Leone's legal and judicial systems. Whether through offering training programs for judges and lawyers, supporting anti-corruption initiatives, or providing funds to build legal infrastructure, the international community can assist Sierra Leone in its legal reform journey. Furthermore, international pressure can help ensure that Sierra Leone remains accountable to the commitments it has made under international human rights treaties. As a signatory to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, Sierra Leone has a responsibility to uphold the rights enshrined in this and other international agreements. Foreign governments and international organizations can apply diplomatic pressure to encourage the government to honor its commitments to human rights and judicial independence, ensuring that political influence does not continue to tarnish the legal system. At the same time, it is essential for Sierra Leone to maintain its sovereignty in the reform process. While international support is valuable, it should be viewed as complementary to local efforts rather than a substitute for them. The leadership of Sierra Leone must take ownership of the legal reform agenda and demonstrate a genuine commitment to change. Only when the government, civil society, and international partners work together can the country achieve the kind of legal system that the people deserve. Promoting civic engagement and legal literacy. Another important pillar in the pursuit of legal reforms is the promotion of civic engagement and legal literacy. Sierra Leone's citizens must be actively engaged in the reform process and equipped with the knowledge and skills necessary to hold the government accountable and advocate for justice. By increasing public awareness of legal rights and responsibilities, the country can empower its citizens to demand greater transparency, fairness, and impartiality in the legal system. Education plays a critical role in this regard. By integrating civic education and legal literacy into the school curriculum, Sierra Leone can ensure that future generations understand the importance of the rule of law and how to navigate the legal system effectively. Such programs can focus on topics like human rights, the independence of the judiciary, and the importance of democratic governance, preparing young people to become informed citizens who can contribute to shaping a more just and equitable society. Moreover, civil society organizations have a crucial role to play in raising awareness about the need for legal reforms and advocating for the protection of human rights. These organizations can serve as watchdogs, monitoring government actions and holding officials accountable when they fail to uphold the law. By mobilizing the public, organizing campaigns, and providing legal assistance to marginalized groups, civil society can help ensure that the voices of the people are heard and that their rights are protected. Public forums, town hall meetings, and online platforms can also provide spaces for citizens to engage in discussions about the legal system, share their experiences, and suggest improvements. Such platforms allow people to feel more connected to the reform process and ensure that the changes made to the legal system reflect the needs and aspirations of the population. Strengthening the legal framework for future generations. As Sierra Leone moves toward a more transparent and independent legal system, it is essential to keep in mind the long-term impact of these reforms. Legal reforms must not only address immediate concerns, but also set the foundation for future generations. A strong legal framework that upholds human rights, guarantees judicial independence, and protects the rule of law is critical to the continued development and stability of the country. For Sierra Leone to truly strengthen its legal system, reforms must be comprehensive and sustained. They should focus not only on changing the structures of the judiciary, but also on fostering a culture of legal accountability and respect for human rights. Reforms must be institutionalized and enshrined in law so that they are not subject to political whims or temporary changes in leadership. The goal should be to create a legal environment where the rule of law is respected, individuals can seek justice without fear of retribution, and the judiciary can operate independently from political influence. By enacting these reforms and strengthening the institutions that support them, Sierra Leone will be laying the groundwork for a more just and prosperous future. A new era for Sierra Leone's legal system. The case of Hawa Hunt has illuminated serious challenges facing Sierra Leone's legal system, but it has also sparked a crucial conversation about the importance of judicial independence, the protection of free speech, and the need for legal reforms. It is clear that the country must take decisive steps to address these issues, starting with strengthening the independence of its judiciary, ensuring the impartial application of the law, and fostering greater public engagement in the legal process. With the support of the international community, the engagement of civil society, and a genuine commitment from the government, Sierra Leone can pave the way for a stronger, more transparent, and more accountable legal system. While the path to reform may be long and challenging, the rewards will be worth it. A legal system that truly serves the people, free from political influence, and committed to upholding the rule of law, will strengthen Sierra Leone's democracy and provide a firm foundation for the country's future. Strengthening the role of political opposition in legal reform. As Sierra Leone embarks on its legal reform journey, it is crucial to recognize the role of the political opposition in this process. A healthy democracy relies on the existence of a strong and independent opposition that can hold the ruling party accountable. The opposition has the responsibility to challenge government policies, question decisions that undermine democratic principles, and advocate for reforms that benefit the broader population. In Sierra Leone, as in many other African countries, the political opposition has historically faced significant challenges in exercising its role effectively, often due to a lack of institutional support and political space. However, for meaningful legal reforms to take root, it is essential that the opposition be allowed to operate freely and without fear of retribution. The case of Hawa Hunt exemplifies the challenges faced by those who speak out against the government, and it underscores the importance of creating an environment where all political voices are heard and respected. The opposition, by actively engaging in the debate around judicial independence and human rights protections, can be a powerful force for change. By advocating for reforms that ensure a fair and impartial legal system, the opposition can help build public support for a more just and equitable system. Moreover, the opposition can help expose instances of government overreach or political interference in legal matters, serving as a check on the ruling party's power. However, the political opposition must also work to unite around the shared goal of strengthening the rule of law, rather than focusing solely on undermining the government. Cooperation across party lines is essential in building a unified front for legal reform. This requires putting aside political differences and prioritizing the long-term stability and prosperity of Sierra Leone over partisan interests. If the opposition works with the government to ensure that legal reforms are implemented transparently and in the best interest of the people, it will contribute to a more robust and enduring democracy. Expanding access to justice for marginalized groups. One of the key aspects of reforming the legal system in Sierra Leone must include ensuring access to justice for marginalized and vulnerable groups. In Sierra Leone, as in many countries, the poor, rural populations, women and children often face significant barriers in accessing the legal system. These barriers include financial constraints, a lack of legal representation, and geographical isolation from court systems. To truly achieve justice for all, Sierra Leone must work to remove these barriers and ensure that everyone, regardless of their background or status, has equal access to legal protections. Legal aid programs, which provide free or low-cost legal services to those unable to afford private representation, are essential in this process. Expanding these programs, both in urban and rural areas, will help ensure that vulnerable groups can seek legal redress when their rights are violated. Additionally, there needs to be an emphasis on improving access to information about legal rights. Many people in Sierra Leone may not be fully aware of their rights or the processes available to protect them. By increasing legal literacy and providing accessible information about legal resources, Sierra Leone can empower its citizens to navigate the justice system and seek justice when necessary. Furthermore, reforms should focus on addressing systemic inequalities that disproportionately affect marginalized groups. For example, women in Sierra Leone face significant challenges in accessing justice, particularly when it comes to issues such as gender-based violence, property rights, and inheritance. Strengthening legal protections for women and ensuring that the courts apply these protections fairly and consistently will be crucial in ensuring that all individuals are treated equally under the law. Special programs that support women's access to justice, such as domestic violence shelters, counseling services, and legal representation for victims of abuse, should be prioritized as part of the broader legal reform agenda. Similarly, attention must be given to improving access to justice for children, particularly those who may be affected by child labor, trafficking, or abuse. Child protection laws need to be strengthened, and the legal system must be equipped to handle cases involving minors with the sensitivity and urgency they require. By ensuring that children have access to justice, Sierra Leone can foster a legal environment that promotes the welfare and protection of its youngest citizens. Ensuring the future of free speech and digital rights. The case of Hawa Hunt, which involved a cybercrime charge stemming from a video she posted on social media, highlights the growing importance of digital rights and freedom of speech in today's interconnected world. As Sierra Leone continues its journey toward a more just legal system, it must also ensure that the digital rights of its citizens are protected. The rise of social media and digital communication platforms has changed the landscape of public discourse, providing new opportunities for expression, but also creating new challenges for the legal system. One of the central concerns in Sierra Leone and across much of Africa is the growing trend of governments using cybercrime laws to stifle dissent and control online speech. In Hunt's case, her arrest for allegedly insulting public figures online raises critical questions about the limits of free speech in the digital realm. While cybercrime laws are necessary to protect citizens from online harassment, fraud, and other criminal activities, they should not be used as tools for political suppression. Sierra Leone must adopt a balanced approach to regulating online speech. The country needs clear guidelines that protect individuals from harmful online activities, while also ensuring that freedom of expression is not unduly restricted. Any legal framework governing digital communication should be transparent, fair, and consistent with international human rights standards. Moreover, there should be safeguards to prevent the abuse of power by government authorities, ensuring that digital rights are respected and upheld. Additionally, it is essential to create a legal framework that addresses the protection of personal data and privacy in the digital age. As digital platforms become increasingly integral to everyday life, ensuring that individuals' data is not exploited or misused by both public and private entities is crucial. In this regard, Sierra Leone should look to the global trend of establishing data protection laws that prioritize individual privacy and ensure that companies and government bodies act responsibly when handling personal information. Education and awareness about digital rights should also be prioritized. Citizens should be informed about their rights in the online space, including how to protect their data, how to report online abuse, and how to navigate issues related to freedom of expression on digital platforms. Legal literacy programs should include components focused on digital rights, helping people understand how their online actions and expressions are protected under the law. Leveraging Sierra Leone's legal reform as a model for the region. Sierra Leone's legal reform efforts, if successful, have the potential to set an important example for other countries in West Africa and across the continent. Many African nations are grappling with similar challenges regarding judicial independence, political interference, and human rights protections. By leading the way in creating a more transparent, accountable, and fair legal system, Sierra Leone could become a model for others to follow. In the broader context of African governance, Sierra Leone's reform efforts could serve as a beacon for countries struggling with issues of corruption, weak institutions, and political interference. As Sierra Leone addresses its own legal challenges, it can share its experiences with neighboring countries, offering lessons learned and best practices for creating a legal system that is both independent and responsive to the needs of its people. Additionally, regional bodies like the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, can play a pivotal role in promoting legal reform across the continent. Sierra Leone, as a member of ECOWAS, can use its position within the regional bloc to advocate for legal and governance reforms that prioritize human rights, judicial independence, and good governance. By working with other West African nations, Sierra Leone can contribute to a larger regional movement that strengthens the rule of law across the region, a vision for Sierra Leone's future legal landscape. The case of Hawa Hunt, while an isolated incident, reflects broader systemic challenges in Sierra Leone's legal and political systems. The growing concerns over political interference, judicial independence, and the protection of fundamental rights require urgent attention and reform. For Sierra Leone to move forward, it must strengthen its legal institutions, safeguard freedom of expression, ensure greater access to justice for all citizens, and protect digital rights in an increasingly connected world. By working together with the international community, civil society, the political opposition, and its citizens, Sierra Leone can create a legal system that is transparent, fair, and truly independent. Such a legal system will not only protect the rights of individuals, but will also serve as the foundation for a more democratic, stable, and prosperous future for the country. The road to reform may be long and fraught with challenges, but the potential rewards are immense. By choosing to confront these issues head-on, Sierra Leone can lay the groundwork for a stronger, more equitable society, one where the rule of law prevails, human rights are respected, and democracy is safeguarded for future generations. The role of technology and innovation in legal reform. As Sierra Leone continues its journey toward legal reform, it is crucial to integrate technology and innovation into the transformation of its legal system. Technology has the potential to make the legal system more efficient, accessible, and transparent. In many African countries, the legal process can be slow and cumbersome, often causing delays in delivering justice. By leveraging technological tools such as case management systems, digital court records, and online access to legal information, Sierra Leone can improve the efficiency and transparency of its courts. For example, digitizing court processes could reduce delays and streamline legal procedures, allowing cases to be heard and decided in a timely manner. Electronic filing systems and online case tracking could also provide citizens with easy access to information about their legal proceedings, ensuring transparency and accountability. Additionally, these tools could help prevent corruption by reducing opportunities for manipulation and bribery within the system. Technology can also improve access to justice by allowing people in remote areas to participate in legal proceedings virtually. This could be especially beneficial in Sierra Leone, where rural communities often face significant barriers to accessing legal services. By introducing online legal consultations, virtual hearings, and mobile legal services, Sierra Leone can bridge the gap between urban and rural populations, ensuring that all citizens have access to justice, regardless of their location. Building a national dialogue on legal and governance reform. An essential part of Sierra Leone's legal reform process will involve building a national dialogue on the future of its governance and legal systems. It is important for the government to engage the people in discussions about the reforms that are needed to strengthen the rule of law and protect individual rights. This dialogue should include all sectors of society, including the political opposition, civil society, legal professionals, the business community, and ordinary citizens. By engaging a broad range of stakeholders, Sierra Leone can create a reform agenda that reflects the needs and aspirations of the entire population. This inclusive approach will ensure that the reforms are not only top-down, but are supported by the people, leading to greater ownership and commitment to their implementation. The national dialogue should also provide space for citizens to discuss the challenges they face within the legal system, allowing their voices to be heard in the reform process. This can be done through town hall meetings, community forums, and public consultations. In doing so, the government will build trust with its citizens and ensure that the reforms address the actual needs of the people. The importance of regional cooperation and solidarity. Sierra Leone's efforts to reform its legal and political systems will be more successful if they are part of a broader regional movement toward good governance and the rule of law in West Africa. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has an important role to play in promoting legal and governance reforms in the region. Sierra Leone, in collaboration with other West African nations, can share best practices, lessons learned, and technical expertise to foster a regional culture of legal accountability. Regional cooperation can also help address transnational issues such as cross-border corruption, human trafficking, and terrorism. By working together to strengthen the rule of law, countries in West Africa can create a more stable and secure environment for their citizens. Sierra Leone's legal reforms could serve as a model for other countries in the region, inspiring broader regional change and furthering the cause of justice and human rights in Africa. Advice to African leaders. To African leaders, the case of Sierra Leone and the challenges it highlights serves as a reminder of the vital importance of upholding the rule of law, protecting human rights, and ensuring judicial independence. Leaders must recognize that political influence over legal systems undermines democracy and the trust of the people. In order to build stronger, more resilient nations, leaders must prioritize the independence of the judiciary and promote a culture of accountability and transparency. Investing in the development of legal institutions is not a mere luxury. It is an essential investment in the future of the country. Legal systems that are fair, transparent, and free from political interference foster public trust, attract investment, and protect the rights of all citizens, including the most vulnerable. Moreover, leaders must embrace the importance of free speech and a robust civil society. While the government has a responsibility to protect citizens from harm, it should never use its power to silence dissent or stifle political opposition. The health of a democracy is measured by the extent to which citizens can freely express their views, engage in public discourse, and challenge authority without fear of retribution. Finally, African leaders should recognize that legal reforms are a continuous process that requires ongoing commitment. It is not enough to implement reforms in the short term. True success lies in the long-term consistency of reform efforts, backed by political will and supported by all sectors of society. Summary of key messages. The case of Hawa Hunt in Sierra Leone has highlighted significant challenges within the country's legal system, including political interference in legal matters, the need for judicial independence, and the importance of protecting freedom of expression. These issues are not unique to Sierra Leone, but are part of a broader trend across many African nations. To ensure that justice is served fairly and impartially, Sierra Leone must prioritize legal reform, strengthen its judiciary, and protect the rights of all citizens. Key reforms should include 1. Strengthening judicial independence, ensuring that the judiciary operates without political influence and that judges are appointed based on merit and protected from political pressures. 2. Promoting accountability, creating systems to hold all actors within the legal system accountable, including government officials, law enforcement, and the judiciary. 3. Protecting free speech, ensuring that citizens have the right to express their opinions and engage in political discourse without fear of retribution or legal consequences. 4. Expanding access to justice, ensuring that legal services are accessible to all citizens, particularly marginalized and vulnerable groups, through legal aid programs, digital services, and legal literacy campaigns. 5. Leveraging technology, using technology to streamline legal processes, enhance transparency, and improve access to justice, particularly for rural and underserved communities. 6. Engaging citizens in dialogue, fostering a national conversation on legal and governance reforms to ensure that reforms reflect the needs and aspirations of all sectors of society. 7. Building regional solidarity, working together with neighboring countries and regional organizations to promote the rule of law and good governance throughout West Africa. Sierra Leone can become a beacon of legal and governance reform in Africa, setting an example for other countries on how to uphold justice, democracy, and human rights. By investing in the legal system, promoting accountability, and ensuring that the voices of the people are heard, the country can create a more just, transparent, and prosperous future for all. Thank you for watching this video of the Bold African Voice, BAV. If you find this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. Subscribe to our channel for more comprehensive news, critical analysis, and discussions about Africa's future. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let's keep the conversation going. Together, we make the difference.